But this right now, here's the thing. This and this will be maddening, but if this team somehow these last 5 games does what they should have done starting last week and just starts rolling teams, I mean, that's what's so startling about what happened Saturday is, and I'll admit, I was so confident heading into that game because I thought Iowa matched up so well against that team, and it was like the total opposite. And I mean, you and I we have not played the game at some competitive level, but we do a lot of quote unquote analysis, and I bring on Coach Patterson. He and I have conversations off the air. I don't go into a lot of games confident like that because you recognize that any team can lose at any time to anybody, especially in this conference. But I don't know the last time I've been that confident. And for the people that say, Corey, you jinxed him, give me a break. Are we really going to attribute to the seriously? No, it's bizarre. And I'll go back to what I said over the weekend. Michigan State was out of the top 100 in total offense. Their passing offense was crap. Their rush offense was crap. They were. The numbers don't lie. They were. Up until yesterday, the numbers state they were bottom quarter or worse nationally. Now, they had played a couple of really good teams in Ohio State and Oregon, but they'd also played some very mediocre teams in Prairie View and in, let's see, who else they play? BC. FAU, who they almost lost to, Maryland, who lost to got blown out by Northwestern. So I'd seen enough evidence there. This was a combination of Michigan State coming off a bye week, and I give Jonathan Smith a lot of credit. And I was actually kind of happy for Aiden Childs because that dude's been through a lot. You feel bad for a first-year quarterback going into a tough situation. I had even talked about them maybe giving the backup a chance, the kid that transferred in from North Dakota. They didn't need that because Aiden Childs looked like a Maxwell Award candidate. I mean, the dude looked like a future Heisman guy. He's got the athleticism, but up until Saturday, he'd been very erratic, made weird decisions, and he almost gifted Iowa a turnover in the first half to Quinn Schulte, and Schulte just dropped it. Now, Iowa did get a pick later on from Cohen Entringer, but it wasn't enough. And Cade had one of the worst interceptions I've seen from an Iowa quarterback, and that says a lot given the fact that we've seen interceptions from Deacon Hill and Spencer Petras since 2020. So, yeah, I mean, we can talk about the quarterback battle as well, if we want to call it a battle.
Well, you get to a few points right there that I wanted to hit on. Yeah, Quinn Schulte drops an interception. That's when the game's only like 3 or 6-0 at that point. That would have put them in great field position. Let me make sure I pronounce his name correct, because I would like to know more about this Entringer. He's playing in now for Sebastian Castro.
Well, he was Saturday. He hasn't been playing the cash position primarily until Saturday. Castro missed a game. He's supposed to be back this week, but Entringer's typically back playing strong in place of Wampa, and those guys have been splitting reps. But with Castro off the field, Parker got his best guys in there, and I thought they all struggled. Frankly, they all struggled in coverage and certainly struggled to make tackles in space, which is a very foreign concept for Iowa, for the Iowa defense. I even had somebody reach out to me on Twitter. This is a legitimate comment, and I'm not criticizing the person who said this, but this should give us an idea of how foreign tackling issues have been for Iowa. This was, I'm not going to even mention the person's name because I don't want to embarrass him. It's not what I'm trying to do. But this is what this person sent me in a DM. After the first few uncharacteristic missed tackles by the defense, when the camera was closer on Michigan State's pants, something seemed different about the material. It appeared more slippery than usual, especially on the outer leg. I wonder if anyone else watching noticed this. Only players could truly verify if this was a thing, but it popped in my head when seeing a defense have so many missed tackles that normally has very few missed tackles. Iowa looked below average high school team who lacks fundamentals on defense. I get that they had a key player missing, but that shouldn't completely negate fundamentals that should be so ingrained, especially when they've been good all season, notwithstanding the secondary issues. Anyway, this may be more conspiracy on my part, but just an observation I tried to connect some dots with. And, oh, by the way, the missed tackles looked like they seemed to be just sliding off players, unable to get a grip on them at all. Something just seemed off. This was a legitimate comment. I mean, I went back and just for the sake of the person who sent me that, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go look at a picture. They look like green bottoms. That's what they look like to me. But that's literally how people have reacted. They're just in disbelief by how Iowa lost this game.
And you've admitted to this. So Cyhawk C Money says here, yeah, Brada gave MSU chalkboard material. Brada owns this loss. Pride comes before a fall. Mark D'Antonio.
Yeah, and let's put up this one from a different Kirk. Read this in a very appropriate voice, Mark.
I don't blame Corey for the loss, but I do know from playing some college football, only a fool underestimates their
Only a fool, Mark.
Okay.
I'm
You should
sorry.
have read it.
I love it. I can.
Well,
No.
you were asking me last week, or the week before it may have been, since we had to cancel, I believe, last week, what Michigan State had. You were like, this team's crap. What do they have? And I said, well, I liken them to UCLA in that if you look across both sides of the football, they have like NFL players like playing on islands by themselves, like this guy in the secondary, this wide receiver. And I mentioned Nick Marsh. So Iowa got its fill of Nick Marsh. I know that guy can play, and he had a big day against that Iowa secondary.
He did, and I was impressed with everybody. Iowa had problems tackling everybody. And there were guys open all over the field. This wasn't just about tackling. Guys are just open everywhere. They get no. It's such a weird thing when you go from Washington, really good quarterback at Washington, and I know they had some attrition up front, but I was putting pressure with the 4-man front up against what's-his-face for Washington, and yet then you come against a Michigan State offensive line that hadn't been very good at all, and a quarterback who's been mistake-prone, and he just looks like he's playing football on ice. I mean, it was the strangest thing. And I thought it was particularly strange on the heels of the previous week and Kirk eclipsing the 200 win mark and Jay Higgins talking to his team after the game. We're 5 away from Woody's record. Let's roll, boys. It just seemed odd. The timing of the loss. That's why going into it, I'm just like, I can't imagine them lose. Now, maybe it's closer than I think, but I can't imagine they lose. And they lose. It's incredible to me.
Yeah, they were only a 6-point favorite, but they're Iowa. So the point spreads are never large.
6 point on the road. Yeah.
6 points on the road. So that's not whomever you want to fill in the blank at the top of the conference being like, 28-point favorites. But that's Iowa. So when I saw that point spread, I was like, well, I'm sure Iowa's going to win the game, but do they win this 20-17, 17-13? And when I made the decision, it was finally, no. They have a little bit more explosive nature to the offense, thanks to Caleb Johnson, thanks to what I thought was, I don't want to overplay this by any stretch, but a better passing game than they have had.
Wide receiver play was good Saturday, I thought, Mark. You watched the game. Okay. I thought receiver play was pretty good. Our player of the game was Reese Vanderzee. The guy should have had at least 6 catches. He had 4, I think. But Cade McNamara just totally missed him on a couple of throws. Sailing it over the top, wide right, natty light in tribute to our friend Levi, who's having a heck of a year. Go Clones, I guess. But how about the rollout? He rolls out. Have you noticed this? And I don't know how many fans have. I mentioned during the postgame. Cade cannot throw while on the run. He can't. You watch him throw while out of the pocket. He can't do it.
Yeah, he had a play to, I don't know if it was Lachey, but he rolled right, and it just bounced in the dirt 3 or 4 feet behind. It was horrible, and it was not a long pass.
He had a throw to Jacob Gill in the first half where Gill completely extends. He didn't get his feet down. Tremendous effort from a great pass catcher in Jacob Gill, but it was well outside. He was open. I mean, there were so many opportunities missed from just bad throws. That's what's concerning about this. I think the receivers are actually playing as well as they have in years.
So are you going to give me a little bit back on my comments about Cade McNamara a few weeks ago when I said he was one of the worst quarterbacks in the conference?
Well, he'd been playing better. He'd been playing Minnesota to, what was the next game? I thought he actually played pretty well against Ohio State with the exception of one throw to Weegan. But I think I said last week they beat Washington by 30. And I made the comment, I said, I don't think Cade played well. So I agree with you, especially after these last 2 weeks. And now I don't know that you could. I'd take Aiden Childs over Cade McNamara in a second after what I saw. Even with the inconsistency, his ability to make plays on the ground, Cade can't even throw when running.
Well, especially since the kid's 19 years old. They put up a graphic during the
Correct.
broadcast to say, let's be a little understanding of his situation. He's 19 years old. And he's playing a litany of quarterbacks. They threw them all up there that are 23 and 24 years old. So Aiden
Let
Childs
me
may have a
respond to
bright future.
Cyhawk C Money in the chat. He says Cade can roll out and throw, but not if he's eluding a rush. Show me the last time Cade's rolled out and thrown more than 5 yards and been accurate. Show me. I'd like to see that, even when there's no rush. Because when I've seen him roll out and try to make throws down the field, like the throw to Weegan against Ohio State or the throw to Jacob Gill on Saturday, he's erratic and he's either underthrowing. I mean, like the one throw he threw left, I think that was in the pocket, the one that he had overthrown Vanderzee. But he underthrows passes when he's out of the pocket. He's erratic left and right. Hitting guy. He had one or two on Saturday where he was just threw it behind his guy, didn't lead his receiver.